SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
SportsBeat Sunday is live. Great to have you with us. I'm Jeremiah Jensen. He's Spencer Linton, and we have a loaded show tonight, including a Jazz versus Jordan run through the 1980s and an NBA playoff edition of this day in Jazz history.
Don't forget a world record-setting performance from a guy you'd all be happy to socially distance yourself from, and the great University of Utah debate. Which is the greatest Ute football team in history?
But let's start with the NBA, and a good cause. The coronavirus pandemic is keeping the Utah Jazz off the court, but as part of the Larry H. Miller group of companies, the Jazz are trying to do what they can off the court to help those in need. They've launched a Driven to Assist campaign on April 30th, and it will continue through Wednesday, May 6th at all LHM dealerships, Megaplex theaters, Smith's Ballpark, and Vivint Smart Home Arena. It is a week-long statewide food drive to help support the Utah Food Bank. Donations can be made at drive-through locations from 2 to 6 p.m. each day. If you drop off a minimum of 8 cans of food, you'll receive one thank you item from each site. That might be tickets. There's more details and information on KSLSports.com. Right, tonight we feature an NBA playoff edition of This Day in Utah Jazz History. A deep dive into the archives has provided us with a handful of postseason gems.
For one, JJ, retro fashionistas will love 3 uniform changes in this rundown.
Nice.
The mailman delivering in Texas, plus a whole bunch of Houston, you have a problem.
That is the first time fashionistas ever been used on SportsBeat. Wilford Brimley, he was not a fashionista. He's in the house, though, for Game 3 between the Jazz and Spurs in '94. You know who wasn't there? Dennis Rodman. Suspended for this game because of his antics in Game 2. The Jazz took advantage and took out all the drama in this series. Karl Malone, 24 and 13. John Stockton, 13 points and 12 assists, including circus shots like that. Jeff Hornacek had 15. Tom Chambers, 12 off the bench in a 105-72 blowout win. The Jazz took a 2-1 series lead.
1 year later in the 1995 NBA playoffs, the Jazz and Houston Rockets, series tied at 1 game apiece. When the Jazz go to Clutch City and stun the defending champs, clutch that. The mailman delivered to the tune of his jersey, 32 points, 19 rebounds, and hey, even Jamie Watson, the rookie, maximized the moment. Malone also had 5 assists. The Jazz win 95-82 and take a 2-1 series lead.
So many Jazz Rockets playoff series. How about a winner-take-all Game 5 in Salt Lake City? Charles Barkley out with an injury, and the Jazz took advantage at home. Karl Malone took advantage. The mailman delivers 31 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. Greg Ostertag came off the bench and did an excellent job defending Hakeem the Dream Tag with 7 blocks. The Jazz avoid what would have been another devastating first-round playoff disappointment. They eliminate the Rockets in Game 5, 84-70, which turned out to be the final game of Clyde Drexler's Hall of Fame career.
May 3rd, 2007, the Jazz facing elimination against, you guessed it, the Houston Rockets, and the Jazz put up a fight, would not back down. Carlos Boozer, 22 points, 9 rebounds. Mehmet Okur on fire, 4 of 7 from 3, had 19 points, 9 rebounds, and AK-47. Andre Kirilenko playing like an all-star. Talk to the hand, Yao Ming. 5 blocks to go along with 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a partridge in a pear tree. The Jazz force a Game 7 with a 12-point win. They even the best-of-7 series at 3 games apiece.
All right, now the Last Dance documentary series is a huge hit on ESPN. We're all watching it. For those who haven't seen it, the series focuses on Michael Jordan's career with the Chicago Bulls and their final championship season in 1998. And of course, the Utah Jazz play a big role in that history. So we thought it would be interesting to take a deep dive into the history between Michael Jordan and the Utah Jazz. And tonight we're going all the way back to his rookie season, 1984-85.
3 seconds left. Inbounds pass to Green. He'll have to hurry. 2 seconds. 1 second. It's a 3-point basket. He threw in a home run ball. The Jazz.
Fastest of them all, Ricky Green beating the quarter clock for 3, but his airness had his moments. Woo. Jordan finished with 26 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals. Not a lot of help from his team, though. Blocked by Eaton. The outlet to the Golden Griff, and he knows what to do with it. Griffith and Danley combined for 54. Rich Kelly, 13 off the bench. Jazz won 110-92. In Chicago that year, Jordan scored 28 with 5 steals, but he and the Bulls were no match for, yes, Darrell Griffith and his 40 points. The Golden Griff, going back to his Dr. Duncanstein days. Jim Nantz, who was a KSL sports anchor, back in 1985, asked Jazz players who should be Rookie of the Year, Michael Jordan or Akeem Olajuwon.
All right, here's an easy question. Who's the Rookie of the Year in your mind, Jordan or Akeem?
That's an easy one, though.
It actually will be one of the hardest decisions in years.
Houston's winning since acquiring Akeem, but Michael has really made an impact on the league, and I think that's what most of the people go by, his performance, so I think he probably would get it.
It's really hard. If I had to narrow it down for excitement, I would pick Michael Jordan.
So you can't make up your mind either?
No, I think I'd go with both of them.
There's no question in my mind that Akeem should be the Rookie of the Year.
I have to give the edge to Michael Jordan.
It's a tough choice, but I'd say between the two, I think Michael Jordan will get it.
So according to our academy, the Jazz, the winner of the NBA Rookie of the Year should be Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls. He'll take home the Oscar on this night for 1985 Rookie of the Year. Jim Nance, Eyewitness Sports.
Great stuff from Jim Nance and the KSL Archives. Now, as part of the aforementioned ESPN 10-part documentary on the Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance, Michael Jordan's frustrations hit a new high in his second NBA season, and specifically how the Bulls handled his broken foot. Jordan played in only 18 games, and after he healed, MJ played a strict minutes limit. When it came to the playoffs, well, he went off against the Boston Celtics. In spite of not facing Utah in the 85-86 season with that injury, the Jazz recognized greatness in the making.
If I were a sculptor and I was going to make the perfect player, it would be Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan is probably poetry in motion, and he's definitely going to be a legend.
Javi with his hands full, both at 6'6". Jordan drives by him with ease and slams it in. He looks for the shot, turn underneath, put it up on a reverse. What a shot, he scores it. Mark Eaton was right there on a 3-on-2.
Fast forward to Jordan's third season, December 3rd, 1986. Michael and the mailman facing each other for the first time in the Salt Palace, but hey, Mark Eaton was involved. He had 7 blocks. Karl Malone, plenty of hammer dunks. He had 24 points. Jordan scored a quiet 45, 6 steals. Provided the air show as well, but the Jazz out-rebound the Bulls 50-38 in the Golden Griff. Darrell Griffith converting a memorable dunk. The Jazz win 99-94. Later that year in Chicago, Eaton on triple-double watch. He had 16 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 blocks, but Jordan, too busy to notice, making circus shots. The Bulls built a 9-point lead heading into the fourth quarter. MJ had 27, but the Jazz rallied. Thurl Bailey and Eaton running a give and go. Bailey had 15 off the bench. Then with just over a minute to go, the mailman delivers and cuts the lead to 1. Under 20 seconds left, Malone gives the Jazz the lead. The Bulls' final chance, and look at this. Jordan on the block. Mark Eaton strips it away. What? The Jazz rally for a 91-89 victory.
Jordan off to an 0-4 start against the Jazz in his career, but the 87-88 season was a different story. In Chicago, Jordan dropped 45 points and 8 assists on Utah in a 113-91 win. Then in Salt Lake City, Jordan was unstoppable, but the Jazz still had a 6-point lead at the half, thanks to Karl Malone. He had 33 points. Stockton had 11 assists in the game. The Bulls rallied in this game. Jordan's spinning jumper on the baseline gave the Bulls a 1-point lead in the final minute, and the Bulls went on to win. But the play everyone will always remember from that game is this: Michael Jordan dunking on Jazz center Mel Turpin. And Karl Malone tells the story of what inspired this famous dunk.
We was playing Chicago in Salt Lake. They switched and put John Stockton on it, and he turned around and dunked on Stockton. So some guy got up and almost followed him down the sideline and said, "Hey, Jordan, pick on somebody your own size." Next time down the floor, he dunked on Mel Turpin. And went over and looked at the guy and said, "Was he big enough?"
Early in the 1988 season, Jordan, well, he's not done posterizing. This time, it's the Bear, Mike Brown. But Karl Malone threw down his elbow right on Jordan's nose later in the game. MJ left early, still scored 33 points. The Jazz, meanwhile, in top form. Block from Eaton, Malone save, Eaton to Stockton, to Griffith, to Malone for the dunk. You gotta love it, baby. The Jazz blow out the Bulls 107-93. Shortly after the new year in Chicago, more of the same of Michael Jordan dunking, this time on Big T. 27 for MJ. Speaking of dunks, a little Stockton to Malone ends with Malone getting angry at the rim. And then Thurl gets his revenge with this block on Jordan. Leads to a Stockton outlet to Malone for an easy two. Jazz win 106-92. Malone led everyone with 30 points. Stockton had 19 assists.
All right, now the most memorable game between Jordan's Bulls and Utah Jazz in the 80s has to be the game in Salt Lake City on November 15th, 1989. Jordan, in what's become a common theme in these highlights, scored 40 points against the Jazz. Wow, the Jazz were down 7 with 40 seconds left. Stockton gets to 3. That lead is cut to 4. Moments later, Bulls on the inbound. Stockton steals it. Up to Blue Edwards. The lead is now 2. Then with the Jazz down 1, let's let Hot Rod call it.
They do. Stock's got it. He's got running room. Stockton, grab, hang it up. It's good. It's good. The Jazz win it. The Jazz win it. I can't believe it. The Jazz win it. An unbelievable finish. John Stockton, grab a layup.
108-107 the final. Perhaps the greatest ending between these two teams, at least for the Jazz, that is.
Of all these comebacks, we ain't had these issues.
Ute debate. Which team was better, the 04 Utes or 08 Utes? Who better to make a case than the players themselves?
SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
But a live event nonetheless, and a world record-setting performance. Thor Bjornsson, better known as the Mountain on the HBO TV series Game of Thrones, broke the record for the heaviest ever deadlift. That was 1,104 pounds, and he barely broke a sweat. What a freak!
I believe today I could have done more, but what's the point? I'm happy with this. My family and friends, they were happy with this.
And I'm happy to be socially distancing from that guy.
And a big hole. This may go all the way. Keeper by Alex Smith going wide, cutting back inside. He goes in.
And those who have made their way from Salt Lake celebrate.
Alex has that ball. Oh, Alex kept the ball. The shovel pass to Quinton Ganther, and he dives in for the touchdown.
At least 3 times each week, the KSL Sports Team brings you live sports conversations streamed on our Facebook and YouTube pages. This week, the Great Ute Debate stealing the show. 4 former Utah football greats joined Crimson Corner host Trevor Allen to argue over who deserves the title of greatest Ute team ever. Eric Weddle and Quinton Ganther from the undefeated 2004 Utah team that won the Fiesta Bowl, up against Stevenson Sylvester and Brian Johnson from the unbeaten 2008 team, which won the Sugar Bowl. And when you're discussing the greatest Utah football team in history with those serious competitors, understandably the trash talk goes next level, like when the 2008 team memorialized some of their incredible comebacks.
I thought you was going to talk about Oregon State, the comeback against Oregon State, how you orchestrated that. That was a moment.
I thought that was how we went to
No, but that's the debate of all these comebacks. We ain't had these issues.
Bro, I was actually going to bring that up.
Every team y'all didn't play a team that had less than 5 losses.
I don't remember. We just played who was on the schedule.
Oh, great stuff. Trash talk aside, both Weddle and Ganther are still big fans of the undefeated squad that took down Alabama. Fun fact, Brian Johnson was actually on the roster of both the 2004 and 2008 teams. And after Weddle moved on to the NFL, he kept close contact with Johnson during the 2008 season, texting him during and after every game. However, it was a text that Weddle received before the Sugar Bowl that made him and Ganther some money from their professional teammates.
I get the week of the Sugar Bowl, and I'm talking to BJ. Obviously, I was talking to him all season. He's like, Eric, we are going to run these guys into the ground. I'm like, I'm like, BJ, for real, like, don't be messing with me. He's like, we got a great plan. They can't match up with them. We're going to go up tempo. And I was like, are you for real, for real? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So I went back to my team, and I bet everybody on the entire team, and I came away with, I think, like $3,500, which was amazing money for me at the time. And I took everyone, because everyone was like, Utah, no, they don't got it. This is Alabama, this is Alabama. I was like, okay. I got inside info, and I didn't say nothing until after the game. I said, I told y'all, you should have listened to me.
Hey,
so
you should have seen the line at my locker.
Got them boys paid.
What a fantastic conversation. JJ, let's keep the energy high on the 2004 and 2008 Utes. So many great moments in those seasons, so it seems like a perfect topic for our next top 5.
That's a great idea. Let's begin with the top 5 moments from the Utes 2008 season.
19 yards to the end zone. And those who have made their way from Salt Lake celebrated.
30th, 2008, the Utes go to the Big House and get a big win over the Michigan Wolverines. Brian Johnson was outstanding at quarterback. A sign of things to come that season. 305 yards passing. Corbin Laux found the end zone on a gadget play. And King Louis Sakota kicked 4 field goals in a 25-23 win.
Right, Max sends the throw. It's intercepted by Paul Kruger. He's going to go for a touchdown. The 20, the 15, the 10. He falls down to the 5-yard line.
How about 5 interceptions of Max Hall? Count them 5. By Utah en route to a Mountain West Conference championship, locking up their second undefeated regular season in a 5-year span. Incredible. On the slant. Touchdown, Utah.
The Utes always found a way to win close games. 2 missed field goals by TCU in the fourth quarter, which kept the Utes alive. The last miss with 2:48 left gave the Utes a chance to march down the field and win. They did just that. Brian Johnson was masterful. 4th and 5, Johnson connected with Freddie Brown to keep the drive alive. Then 2 plays later, Johnson to Brown in the end zone for the game winner. Robert Johnson intercepted an Andy Dalton pass late to seal the win. Number 10 Utah beat number 9 TCU 13-10 to remain undefeated at 10-0.
Play action. Brian Johnson rolls, tucks it down, sprints to the corner, and it's tied.
At number 2, why not profile a comeback the 2008 guys we're just talking about? This unbelievable effort against Oregon State. Utah down 11 in the final 90 seconds. The Utes come back to beat the Beavers. Think about what that game meant in the grand scheme of things. Wild. It preserved an undefeated magical season and, dare I say, the greatest season in Utah football history. Wow.
The BCS All-State Championship Trophy. It's the perfect Utah Utes.
You can't pick just one play in the 2009 Sugar Bowl. There were just so many. It felt like a dream for Ute fans. Brian Johnson threw for 336 yards and 3 touchdowns, slicing up the Crimson Tide defense like a surgeon. The Utes jumped out to a 21-0 lead in the first quarter. Alabama tried to rally in the second half. They got within 5, but the Utah defense didn't let them get any closer. They sacked John Parker Wilson 8 times, intercepted him twice. The 7th sack forced a fumble. The Utes crush Alabama on a big stage, finished 13-0 and number 2 in the nation. He was an all-Mountain West Conference safety at Utah, a member of the 2009 Sugar Bowl champions, and an NFL draft pick and 3-year NFL veteran with the Tennessee Titans. Robert Johnson is our guest on SportsBeat. Rojo, how you surviving the quarantine?
You see, it's a little rough up here. I'm in my basement, but it's cool. It's been okay.
Before we get into the draft and life in the NFL, I have to ask you about the great debate that we hosted on KSLSports.com this week. The 2004 Utes versus the 2008 Utes. We heard what your teammates had to say, and I'm sure you're going to say that 08 was the best, so I'm going to give you the floor now. Why was 2008 better than 2004?
Hey, defense win games.
Yeah.
Nothing against the defense that year. I mean, they had a very, very explosive offense. But, our year was it was special. It was a year that I'll say that we all came together and we figured that we have to be top 3 in defense-wise to win games, and it worked out good for us.
12 years after that special season, how cool is it that so many fans are still celebrating what you guys accomplished?
First off, the state of Utah is an amazing state, and it's awesome to see that the state still remember us. They still adore us a little bit. I always talk to people and mention I was on that Sugar Bowl year, and everybody get a little bit excited. The state of Utah is just an amazing state, and for us as football players to give that back to the state, to put the University of Utah on the map again that year was a great step into that Pac-12. So it was awesome.
All right, let's dig into the draft. 7 Utes were selected in this year's NFL draft. I'd love to get a few of your thoughts on this class, and I'll start with a defensive back. How good can Jalen Johnson be at the next level?
Well, that dude is amazing. Like, I remember talking to him last year before the start of the season, and I was telling him, I'm like, dude, all you gotta do is stay healthy and just ball out. And he got things that a lot of corners, like, they're starting to change these corners, and he got the height. He got the length. His arms is long. He run pretty fast. He got a good knack for the ball. Like, he can catch it, then he scores with the ball. And I was kind of mentioning all that last year too, like during the season, that he's a special player. And for him, he's going to fit in perfect. He's going to fit in so perfect with the Chicago defense. Like, you got to remember, they love tall corners. He make plays, and that's what you need. And then they own grass too, which makes it even better.
Absolutely. All right, 3 Utah defensive backs taken in the first 3 rounds. Why is Utah having so much success developing NFL talent, specifically at that defensive back position, safety and corner?
Well, I'll go all the way back to, Eric Weddle. Eric Weddle kind of opened up the doors for a lot of the University of Utah players to be looked at. And the system that we run, like Coach Witt, dad, basically it's his system, it's Fred Whittenham's system, and it's an NFL caliber system. And, then you have people that's very experienced, like Coach Scally, that's running the safeties. Then you have Shaw, that's just business savvy too. He definitely understands the ins and outs of the defense. And then you have Coach Witt, that's basically just letting the defense do what they need to do. And the whole defense played really good this year. And nothing against the offense. The offense played good, but the defense played really good against this Pac-12 talent that was out there. And we dropped a couple of plays, but honestly, to look at our secondary and see 2 safeties being drafted, I'm very, very proud of Coach Witt, the way that he handled it, but Coach Scally kind of put it all together with the safeties and safety pride. Man, I'm really, really proud of them boys.
You now work as a professional growth mentor, helping former student athletes find employment after sports. What challenges are you seeing them have in making that transition?
Well, I use me as the prime example. Is that I went through that new trying to identify myself. When sports is over, it's a tough situation, and I was blessed and lucky enough to make it to the NFL. I played all 4 years. I got my pension. That's really good. But when sports is over, life continues. You got to be prepared for it. You got to understand that life continues. And I tried to guide them the best way that I could. And currently right now, I go back to Coach Ataki. When you think about football and try to put it into football terms, Coach Ataki, he came to LA and seen a kid that he's seen the world in, and that gave me that opportunity, and I trust him. And, he helped me get to where I'm at right now. That's my way of giving back to the whole state, is talking to all the athletes and giving them a heads up that sports end, career kind of starts.
If there's a student athlete making that transition and is watching now, how can they reach out to you and get assistance?
So I'm definitely on LinkedIn. It's Robert Rojo Johnson. That's me on LinkedIn. And then also they can always send me an email with their resume, and I give them the best advice that I can give them by trying to get them here at Northwestern Mutual. But then on top of that, just get them to see that, hey man, the sky's the limit right now. You got tangibles that nobody has as an athlete. So they can definitely reach out to me, and my email address is r.johnson@northwesternmutual.com, but it's spelled NM. So N as in Northwestern, then M as in mutual. So that's the one thing. That's the one way they can hit me up. So that's 2 avenues. Or if they find me, let me know. I'll definitely reach out to them and try to find them my way the best way I could if they find me.
Well, it's great what you're doing, Rojo, and it's always great to catch up and look back at some of those great memories from those great teams you were on. Thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck in this quarantine. Hopefully you can find a haircut and a shave soon.
I know, right? But my jerseys look good, though.
They do. They always look good.
Thanks a lot, AJ.
You got it. Thank you.
A class act, Robert Johnson. Stay with us. A Kentucky Derby with turtles? Believe it. We have the highlights when we come back. sports.
All right, we counted down the top 5 moments for the 2008 Utes. Now it's 04's turn.
It's hard to pick just 5, but again, we'll give it our best shot.
We're having a little power outage, but you guys are nice and warm over there. You're looking good. Keep it up. It'll be 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll have it back on and have kickoff.
At number 5, lights out in Laramie. Oh, Laramie, what a special place you are. Hey, Utah wins. That's all that matters, right? It doesn't matter the delay. Utes win. Get out of there as fast as you can.
Bounce back to throw is Alex. Alex over the middle, complete to Savoy. He's got the first down at the 40, the 45, the 50, down the far sideline at the 30. He's all alone. He's going. A touchdown.
The Utes made a statement right out of the gate in 2004, whipping Texas A&M 41-21. They led 41-14 at one point. Alex Smith was brilliant, 21 of 29, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns, including that bomb to Steve Savoy. Alex also rushed for 76 yards and 2 scores in the win.
Here they come with a blitz. He gives it off to Clinton. No, he's got it. He kept it, and he's turning the corner at the 45, the 50, and he's got a great block. He reverses field at the 40, and he reverses again, and he's gone. Oh, my goodness. 10, the 5, touchdown, Alex Smith.
We couldn't leave out that run by Alex Smith. 70-yard house call against the Rebels of UNLV.
Field and a pitch to the trailing back is Savoy, cuts it back up at the 10, gets to the 15, gets to the 20, gets to the 25, gets to the 30, gets to the 40. Good! He is gone!
Fans swarm the field. The game is over. The dream has been realized. Utah, you did. See you in the BCS.
The Utes beat BYU 52-21 to clinch a Mountain West title and much more. Savoy at the play of the game, rushing for that 92-yard touchdown. Fans rush the field. As Mike Tirico says, the dream has been realized. The Utes make history, becoming the first BCS Busters and earning a trip to the Fiesta Bowl.
Well, Savoy gives it on. Back to Warren. Touchdown, Utah.
Hook and ladder. The Utes finished their undefeated season with a shellacking of Pittsburgh in the Fiesta Bowl and this iconic play.
That is part of this state's rich sports history. Some teams, pro and college, in Utah have thrived while others died. But either way, it's all made a great contribution, especially when it comes to uniforms, mascots, and my favorite, logos.
It got us thinking, which old sports logo in Utah sports history would you love to bring back?
All right, we have a 32-team bracket up right now on KSLSports.com. You can go vote in the first round. Some great and difficult choices. If I had to pick a Final Four, I'd go with the old Golden Eagles logo, green and gold. They won 2 championships during that era. I'd also go with the Salt Lake Gulls of the Pacific Coast League. I'm also a big fan of the BYU Sailor Coug. And I'll go with the Utah Stars of the ABA. The franchise had a great run in the 70s, including an ABA championship in 1971. Spencer, what are your top 4?
All right, here are my 4 picks. It begins with the BYU Beat Digger logo. It's the logo of the BYU Golden Era. I'd bring it back full time if I could. It's on the pants of the '84 National Championship team. Then there's the the purple Utah Jazz logo. Not to mention the horns out USU logo used in the 70s. That presented Aggie toughness. And I'm with you, JJ. The Utah Star, ABA champions. You can't deny Ron Boone of that greatness. It's a really fun debate.
Zelmo Beatty.
Zelmo Beatty.
Really wise.
I've got an autographed basketball with every member of that team.
There are no wrong answers in this question. Go to KSLSports.com and vote now. All right, today was supposed to be the 146th Kentucky Derby, actually yesterday, but it's been postponed until September 5th. Instead, we got the Kentucky Turtle Derby, and it was a thriller. Galapagos had a big lead early, but What the Turtleneck, yes, that's his name, What the Turtleneck wins by a turtleneck. In the thick of the sauce there, Dave Rose is in the thick of the sauce with Tom Hackett. It's a guest on the Hallowed Grounds. It's next.
The Hallowed Grounds, brought to you by Siegfried & Jensen.
Welcome into this week's episode of the Hallowed Grounds. Special guest, as it is every week, Mr. Dave Rose. Dave, thank you for joining us. Really simple, this is how this thing works. This is the first hole at the Ogden Golf and Country Club. It's a par 5. If you happen to beat me, we go to the second hole, which is the par 3. If you hit it closest to the pin, this Bushnell rangefinder, valued at $500, will be yours. We won't let you leave empty-handed, however. $100 gift card to you into golf.
Well, thanks.
If you can't get the job done, so.
Well, how many strokes you give me?
No strokes.
No
Coach.
strokes,
No,
straight up?
Patrick Fishburne, gave me a couple strokes a few weeks ago, and he still beat me. So I said, you know, enough's enough. Nice shot.
First team, second ball, All-American.
There you go.
All right. That's a good ball.
You were there for forever and a day. I think your record's like 380 something, and you only lost 115, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we had a good run. The best thing, especially here the last 6 or 7 weeks, of just all the guys. My ability to learn from them, and then to watch them grow. You know, that's probably been the best thing. I mean, obviously, winning games was the funnest thing. And they reach out to me. I get 3, 4 text, emails a day, and you know,
that's cool.
Find out what they're doing, and because there's so many of them, they're all over.
The whole players are allowed to now make money off their likeness. If you were to guess, back in the day, how much money do you reckon Jimmer would have made his senior season?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not just Jimmer, but how about Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon? I mean, guys that I played with.
You played with in college, right?
And, I think it's way overdue.
You think it's way overdue?
I mean, these guys have been making money for, you know, for others their whole life. You know, the toughest part is how you're going to manage it, how you're going to control it. And in reality, you probably shouldn't. You probably should just be whatever, whatever you're worth, you're worth. That's it.
Never done that before in my life. I should ask before this segment ends, what have you been doing in retirement? You mentioned you haven't been playing a ton. Have you been fly fishing, or has your wife just got you building that house?
Yeah, we spent most of the time, you know, getting ready to move in to this house. We moved in about 6 weeks ago. And then I followed the team. We went to Houston once and watched them play there when they played the Cougars, and TJ hit that last second shot for the win, and I went to the Maui Classic. Cheryl and I watched that.
Mr. Rose, I do apologize, it didn't quite work out for you. I do like your golf shoes though.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I've seen them around before actually. So we'll get you a $100 gift card to you into golf. And I wasn't joking when I said we can speak to people at KSL, see what they have for you from the broadcasting standpoint. We'd love to have you involved in any way, shape or form. But best of luck. It's good to see you healthy and happy. And enjoy that 30,000-foot mansion you just bought.
Well, thanks. It's been fun. A beautiful day, and course is in great shape.
It is. Dave Rose, everybody. Welcome into this week's Pro Tip of the Week at the Ogden Golf and Country Club. Very fortunate to have Scott Erling with us, the Director of Golf up there at Weber State, go Wildcats, and as well as the head coach of the men's team. A lot of the time people are very inconsistent with how they chip, whether they play the ball off their back, foot off the front, foot somewhere in the middle. How do you teach the guys up at Weber?
So what we want to do with that, we want to get our setup the same for every shot. As you were saying, you know, sometimes people, you know, play the ball back, they play it forward, they play it in the middle, and usually they do it without thinking about it. They just kind of get over it, and it's always different. And so they're hitting shots, and they're like, well, that felt the same, but we got a drastically different result. So what I try to tell my guys, you know, let's get set up. We want the ball kind of off our left heel, our chest over the ball, and just work on getting the bottom of our swing the same all the time. And then depending on how far we want to hit it, we just either want to change clubs or change the length of our swing, but we want to keep the one variable, which is the setup, always the same.
Tom Hackett, Charlie Carlson, the Bushnell rep in the Rocky Mountain States. Now, Charlie, we're on hole 10. It's a par 5. What are we looking at? It's 591 yards, so this thing's probably going to come in handy. I'm holding the hybrid. Tell us what's so special about it.
Tour professionals use a pin sheet on every hole. Well, that tells you where the pin is, but in this viewfinder, you can also see where the pin is